Welcome back to the Warriors Path CrossFit podcast. This is Kris. I'm your host, and we are here today with another coach. We will be talking with Coach Drew. I think it's his third, if not more, debut on the podcast overall. The first one was back in the archives. The second one was a funny little Would You Rather. And then today we're going to learn a little bit more about Coach Drew and what happens in his life outside of the gym and the other 23 hours of his day. So welcome, Drew.
Hello.
How you doing?
Awesome.
Awesome.
On this wintry mix of a day outside.
Yeah, right? It's like an ice luge today.
Totally.
But here we are. We made it.
Yeah.
In the...
All three classes are happening today.
Silver Beetle, we made it. You picked me up. We got here together. Yeah, this is the third class we had today. We didn't have to cancel.
No cancellations.
Yeah, so we try to not cancel classes for weather, but sometimes it happens. Yeah. So, Drew, not only are you a coach here, you're also my husband. So we'll put that out there right now.
Facts. True facts.
Facts. Hashtag facts. But let's talk about you. Give me a little bit of history about you. Give me some information about like where you were born, where you grew up, what was your family dynamic, and a couple other things like that.
Okay. I was born in Patterson, I believe. At Patterson Hospital. I don't know the exact name of the hospital. In like 1970. September 24th, 1970. But I grew up in Byram Township in Forest Lakes in the same community that we have a house in on Forest Lake Drive. And my parents built the house that my brother owns they started in 1969 in Forest Lakes. And we moved into that house, I believe, like in 70. So I was like probably like 6 to 9 months old. My parents, I think, had an apartment in like Oakland, New Jersey before that. And so I went to the Consolidated School, Byram Consolidated School, which is now an apartment complex on Lackawanna Drive. And Byram built the Byram Lake School, but I went to the Consolidated School for first and second grade and third through eighth grade was Byram Intermediate School, and then Lenape Valley Regional High School for my high school career.
What kind of sports or activities were you involved in high school?
I was big into skateboarding from the time I was 9 all through high school, but I also played soccer, but I didn't play on the high school team. I played on this team, it was called the Stanhope Express, and it was like guys that I went to school with. It was like a traveling soccer team. I think I tried the regular soccer in the school, and I just didn't get into it. And then I stuck it out with the Stanhope Express, and up until like probably like 16 years old, 15, 16, like sophomore or so year in high school.
And then you were into skateboarding, so you were too cool for soccer, right? You were like
kind of. Maybe that's probably what happened. Yeah.
Outgrew it.
So my parents, are big musicians, so they were always trying to push the music thing. But I was like had I guess different ideas about things, but I did play music in school up until high school, into 9th grade, like just like concert band and jazz band. But I did play elementary band.
What did you play?
Trumpet.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
But my brother's the one who like really went off with the music thing, and was a trumpet player, and went to Rutgers for his college and stuff for instrumental music and teaching and all that.
Awesome. So then you went off to college. Where'd you go?
My first year of college was at Upsala College in East Orange, New Jersey, which is no more. And it was like, just kind of like a rough, it's kind of part of East Orange where it was. I had an alumni scholarship because my grandfather went there, my mom's dad. So I had, some of the tuition taken care of. So I, decided to give it a try. So I went there for a year, but then I wanted to I had this thing that I wanted to be near the ocean. I wanted to skateboard and be near skate parks. And so I found, a college in Jacksonville, Florida, the University of North Florida. It was 5 miles from the Atlantic Ocean, and it was near Kona Skateboard Park. So I convinced my parents, if I pay for half of the tuition, would you pay for the other half? And somehow I managed to get them on board, so I could go and kind of live out what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go to school.
Awesome. So how did you raise money as a young adult to pay for half of the tuition?
I sold ice cream. I drove an ice cream truck, for a few years. I think at least 3 summers. And my mom actually found the job in the paper, and I.
The paper.
Yeah, the newspaper.
Back
I think
in
it's probably
the day.
the New Jersey Herald, probably. That's what, and it was an ad in the paper. It's oh, there's this job, you can drive an ice cream truck. And so I went down and I met the guy, the owner. His name was Bob Houston, and he was a complete chain smoker. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, even to this day, how this guy would be smoking a cigarette. I think he smoked Pall Malls, and he as soon as he would be ending one cigarette, he'd be lighting the next one. But
I had a boss like that once too. His name was Ken Whitmore, and he owned an auto repair shop, and he would smoke like that. He carried his ashtray around with him. He would sit the ashtray on either the manifold or the air filter top and smoke cigarettes while he was doing whatever he was doing in repairing cars.
it was the most amazing
insane.
thing I've ever seen. It was really incredible. Just the fact that someone could smoke that many cigarettes. It was wild. And a black ashtray on his desk and inside and smoking, and it doesn't happen like that nowadays.
Not usually.
Not
No.
usually.
Every now and then you see someone driving and they're smoking a cigarette, and it just looks so funny.
Yeah,
What,
it was
they
a
smoke
great
cigarettes?
job. It was a really great job. Back then I was making $100 a day, and I'd work at one point. I was working 5-6 days a week. So,
You were balling, man.
yeah, this was late 80s, 88,
Rock star
89,
vibes, man.
$500 to $700 a week back then. That was crazy. So I was able to make enough money to pay for half of my tuition and stuff by doing this job, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you like Florida?
Florida, yeah, I love going to school in Florida. It was a big adjustment at first. Slower pace and different kinds of people, but definitely a slower paced environment. Definitely we're more near New York City, and it's a faster pace where we live. But it took some adjusting, and I think at one point I was really homesick, but then finally things started to click a little bit, and meet people, make friends, and I met a lot of surfer people, and people that liked to that were into skateboarding. So I was trying surfing, and I was going to Kona Skateboard Park, which is a big skateboard park that's been in Jacksonville since the mid to late 70s. And so I was getting to do what I wanted to do down there.
And then ultimately you stayed there after college, right?
Yeah, so then I ended up getting into photography, and I got a bachelor's of arts and sciences in photography and a minor in French at University of North Florida. And the reason why I got the minor is because I had done really well in French in high school, so it was just something that I ended up doing just to add to my curriculum. And then I ended up living in Jacksonville for a year or two after I graduated in 1993, and then I wanted to take more college credits for photography, so I moved to Gainesville, Florida. I went to U of F for a couple of years, and I took more photography courses, like 4x5 view camera. This is all film stuff. This is right before the digital age started to happen. Literally, I think like the day that I graduated UNF in '93 is like when digital photography started to like come into play, and it was so crazy. And then I took a digital photography course in addition to my 4x5 view camera class at U of F, and so it was wild. It was like Photoshop, like 1.0 or something, that we were using on archaic computers, but still doing stuff that you still do nowadays, but just in more like lower resolution sense.
Like more rudimentary style work.
Yeah, like now what you can do with Photoshop is insane, and all the AI stuff that you can do in other programs, and it's over the top. But back then it was just the beginning of the whole digital thing, and the internet was becoming popular. Like email was becoming popular. Just having an email, and I remember when it became popular, and I got an email address, and I had a friend like sending me emails, and I would never check it, and he'd be like, "Dude, do you ever check your email? I sent you like 5 emails." And I'm like, "Oh, I better start doing that," So it was kind of funny.
Huh. Okay, so then fast forward a little bit, you ended up back in New Jersey.
Yeah, so I was down in Gainesville from like 95 or so to 1999, and I met my first wife in Gainesville, and she wanted to get into the nursing program. And at the time, Shands Medical Hospital in Gainesville, Florida, had a nursing program, but it was so filled up, and she couldn't get into the program there. And my parents, or my mom especially, said, "Oh, the Sussex County Community College has a nursing program that you could get into, so why don't you try getting into it?" And then she was able to get into that program, and so then we moved from Gainesville to New Jersey and lived on Spring Street in Newton, above Chrissy O's wedding boutique store, like dress store, like on the 2nd or 3rd floor. And I think it was $600 a month or something ridiculous.
Cheap apartments.
But that was also a huge adjustment to come back from living in Florida, like slower pace and different lifestyle, and come back to New Jersey, and people were getting cell phones, and like I remember all this pressure, like, you should get a cell phone. You should get a cell phone. And my first cell phone was from like Radio Shack,
which no longer exists.
Yeah.
Right. Radio Shack. That was always a cool store to get like the best Christmas gifts. They had like the coolest, unusual, fairly inexpensive gadgets.
Yeah.
Like they had like a table in the center of the store that was like.
And it was like, they weren't too expensive. They did have their expensive stuff, but you can get
way
stuff
in the back of the store.
Yeah. You could get some cool stuff for like, reasonable prices.
Yeah. I remember that store. I remember going to the one in Byram. I think I bought a cell phone there once, but when I worked in the Rockaway Mall, I would always go to the Radio Shack store. It was the bigger one in the mall.
Byram, and there's one in the mall, Rockaway Mall, and one in Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Next is like where Staples is now, like in that strip.
Yeah.
I think there was even one in Sparta.
So let's fast forward to a little bit more current times now. How did you get introduced to CrossFit?
I got introduced to CrossFit from you, but I never did it right away. And I watched. You actually didn't want me to do it, but I don't think I had the huge want to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time, my reason for not wanting you to do it with me was because it was the only like place in my life at that point where it was just the thing that only I was doing. It was like my me time. So I didn't want to give up my me time because we had our together time outside.
Right.
And so that was the only reason.
Yeah, and then we were in the running club, Salt Shaker Running Club, at that point. We just started with that running club, and you told all our friends that were in the running club about where, CrossFit, and you were going to Red Shed CrossFit, and then they one by one started to join. But I still at that point didn't join. But you didn't. You still, I think, wanted to be your space, and that was fine. And then one Christmas, unbeknownst to you, and obviously unbeknownst to me, your mom got me an introductory, 10-pack for Red Shed. And I looked over at you, and I was like, "Did you already part of this?"
I remember you looked at me. You were like, "What the actual F? I thought you didn't want me to do this." I'm like, "I don't even know what you're looking at right now."
Yeah. So then that's where the CrossFit journey had started. But I believe before that, I did that.
You did the fundraiser, Jenny Rowe.
Jenny Rowe,
yeah.
And I literally had that. One of those moments that I've seen beginners have at Warriors Path CrossFit. Where
Pukey the Clown was going to enter the room.
Like, am I going to have a heart attack? Because we left there right after the fundraiser. I was like, I don't feel good. I think you need to take me to the hospital or pull over or whatever I said. I was like, I had never got, I guess, my heart rate like that up that high in a while. So it was like, I was completely redlined and yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, so it took you a little bit to buy into the whole concept of the consistency actually is what's the key component of the program. But you're bought in now.
Yeah, and I didn't do now I'm doing 5-6 days a week of CrossFit for the last couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
And but at first I didn't do that. It was more like 3 days a week, and it was mixed in with our running club, on Tuesdays, and then Saturdays or Sundays we would run with our friends that were from the running club on the weekend, and we were doing a lot of, trail run races, and we did some trail run marathons and half marathons and all that. So the CrossFit was intermingled with our running, but then I had an issue with my hip, and I had to get a hip replacement, so then I scaled back the running even before I got the hip replacement. And I also had to scale the CrossFit, the movements, squat to a box for, certain things. And so, yeah.
When you attended your level 1, you were pre-hip replacement, right?
Yeah, so, and I didn't say anything.
You didn't tell the coaches you needed a hip replacement.
So then I became a guinea pig for all the movements, and they're like, "You're not getting low enough in your squat." And
you're not doing it right.
Yeah, up to the point of I would say 6 months before I had the hip replacement, it was a lot of pain, a lot of pain.
Yeah, and you took your level 1 in June and then got your hip replacement in October.
4th, yeah.
So it wasn't very far apart. It was 4 months? June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, 4 months before your level 1.
But that was life changing in terms of getting the hip replacement, because I was in pain for so long, and you get used to it, and then when you get something I got a bionic hip basically. This guy gave me my life back, Dr. Forbes, Aaron Forbes at Tri-County Orthopedic. So I was back. I did PT after the hip replacement, and I was back in the gym by January 6th or something.
I think it was January 4th or 6th, because I think we were in Puerto Rico, and then we opened the first Monday after we came back from vacation.
Yeah, and then so I was obviously scaling things until I built up the strength in my hip again, and then I guess when I don't remember the exact month I started coaching, because it was
well, let's see, I think the first couple of the classes you coached, you had a cane. Am I wrong about that?
I know that I started early on, the coaching when I came back from my hip replacement.
Yeah, because I said, okay, October you had your level 1. You weren't recovered until after January. And then I'm like, you need to get on the floor so you don't forget what you've learned.
Yeah, so then I started coaching.
It might
And
have
I
been
think
February or March.
Yeah, so I was like showing videos or having some people demo stuff that I couldn't do at that point because I was still recuperating from the hip replacement, but I was coaching at that point. So, and now it, feels like a normal hip, obviously, and
It's been 2 years now, right, since your hip replacement, plus a month or two?
yeah. So, yeah, now I'm like surpassing where I was before the hip replacement, I think, for some movements. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's awesome.
So now you're a CrossFit coach, and you've been doing it for, I guess, about a year and a half, approximately, right? Maybe a little.
Almost 2 years.
Almost
January, right? January, February. I don't know.
Yeah, in like about
First quarter of
2 or
this
3 more months,
year.
it'll be 2 years about. So just past a year and a half then. So what is it like to be a coach?
It's definitely been a process, but the thing that's like helped me a lot has been that I did substitute teaching for, on and off for, I would say at least like 10 years.
Yeah, I was going to say about a decade, probably 10 years.
Yes, because I've been a real estate agent for over 20 years, active, and then right now, in this past year, I put my license in referral, and I'm just referring any of my business to some realtors in my office, Keller Williams, Integrity, and Sparta. But like I've always had like side stuff, like work with real estate because it's it's a 1099 job, so I would do the substitute teaching or do side jobs with contractors to make extra money,
and photography
doing virtual tours, like real estate pictures for realtors listings because I had the connection there. So I would like put my name out there to do photography, architectural photographs for real estate listings for other realtors besides myself. So yeah, the substitute teaching, definitely going back to like how it helped me for coaching was just like being able to manage a class, and being aware of people that are like struggling and some people need help more than others, so you have to be able to identify that. And but a lot of the substitute teaching helped with the class management and time and like being able to start a class at like 6:00 and finish it by 7:00, and keeping everybody moving and motivated and to get everything that you wanted accomplished in the class accomplished.
What's your favorite thing to coach? Favorite like type of a workout?
I like rowing, and I like power cleans, and I would say push presses, and some barbell movements.
Well, that's good because you're coaching that tomorrow.
Oh yeah. What is it? The push.
We got our clean and jerk waves.
Clean jerk wave.
Yeah.
So, and I like running, but like you can't be like right next to somebody when they're running if you're coaching. You're usually like the way we have their gym set up, people are running down the sidewalk and they run back. But yes, you can like go over all like the proper running mechanics with somebody. But I think like coaching barbell movements, or if someone's on a rower, they're right in front of you the whole time, so you can make corrections a lot easier than unless you're running next to your group of people that are in your class, but that usually isn't the case.
Yeah. What is one thing that you think is like part of a coach's either like prep or things that they need to do mentally, physically, whatever? One thing that you think athletes would be surprised about, like what it takes to be a coach?
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people might not realize it, or some might, but that all the coaches spend, probably like an hour to 2 hours getting prepped for the class by going over everything that they have to do from the warm up to demonstrating the movements, and also knowing like who's going to be in the class. That's why you always are stressing on the fact that people need to sign up for class early, so the coaches can see who's going to be in the class, because you can have someone who just started last week, and then you also can have another athlete that has like 5 years experience. Well, the person that started last week is definitely going to need some more scaling than someone who's been like, part of the box for like 5 years.
Yeah, and not even just scaling, but like a whole different process of progressions, right? Like if you're going over rowing, you might not need to break it down into piece by piece if someone has attended for 5 years, but if they're only a week in, they may have only been on the rower once.
Right. So the latitude, or the difference in abilities when you have classes like that, from someone who's like very green, and then you have someone who's maybe a year in, and then you have somebody who's an athlete who's been 3 years, and then someone's 5 years, and the more experienced athletes are going to know their weights, they're going to know rowing mechanics, but someone who's only been in they've 10 classes or 5 classes, they're like a blank slate, and you have to like go over stuff, but then that becomes like you can't focus too much on that beginner athlete, because you also have to focus on the rest of the people in the class. So it's a balance of like showing the new person like, okay, here is how you do it, but you also have to pay attention to the other more experienced athletes, and then you have to get through all the parts of the WOD, from the warm up to the WOD prep to the actual WOD, and then hopefully have time for like a cool down stretch, or something like that, and and not go over time. Like if the class is supposed to end at 7, you can't end at 7:05 or 7:10.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we really try hard to make our classes start and end on time. So I know that's a big focus, and that's become a bigger focus this year, of like a top priority, starting and ending on time.
Yeah, so there's more prep, I think, than some people think there is. And
yeah, and then also like from the whole programming standpoint, I don't think people realize how the programming is put together so meticulously to touch different points of
the programming,
push and pull, and arms and legs, and metcon and strength, and gymnastics and strength, and cardio, and all the things that we do, short time domain, long time domain, and all of that. So I guess we're going to just kind of start transitioning to wrapping up. We're about to have a class in about 15 minutes or so. So I'm just going to ask you like 2 or 3 quick little questions. Let's see. What is your favorite CrossFit shoe?
Favorite CrossFit shoe is the Nobull, I guess. What were they before? It was like the Outwork now.
Yeah, I think it was called the Trainer.
Yeah, the Trainer. Yeah. So that one's probably my favorite. And then the Nike Metcons are good for like rope climbs. So I like those also.
Yeah.
So I have like 4 different pairs of shoes, actually. Like 3 pairs of Nobulls that are in my cubby, and 1 pair of Nike Metcons.
What is your favorite type of workout music?
I guess it depends on the workout, but most of the time I like probably like 90s grunge or something like that. Some heavy stuff.
Oh, you mean like skateboarding music?
I don't know about skateboarding music, but anything, like hard, I think most of the time to get you going. But you've introduced me to a lot of newer stuff.
Yeah, I like new heavy metal. What's your favorite CrossFit movement to do yourself, not to coach?
I like the power clean.
What's one movement that you wish you never had to do again, ever?
I don't like burpees, but I've grown to just accept it, but and thrusters are like.
That's funny. I think you and Kayla both said thrusters.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna finish it up there, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure we'll talk again soon because
there's a lot more stuff to talk about.
We're married, so we'll have lots of opportunities to.
Definitely a lot more stuff to talk about.
Yeah, there's more stuff to talk about. This is definitely part 1. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you are someone who is looking to make a positive impact or a change in your life, find a CrossFit gym near you. Those are your people. They're going to bring out the best in you. They're going to wish the best for you. They'll be your support staff through it all. Take the warrior's path.